Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nice to have you all back, alhamdulillah. Hope we all had a wonderful Ramadan and Eid. Inshallah, let us begin as usual with a recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha silently from the heart, with the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places His light and His knowledge directly into your heart, inshallah.
Recording in progress. Recording in
All right, alhamdulillah. So it's good to be back and back into the momentum and the rhythm. We were off for Ramadan and the Eid holidays, but it's good to be back, alhamdulillah. I hope you're all well also. So the plan is to inshallah continue where we left off. We were talking about al-aqabat al-sab'a, the 7 obstacles based on the book written by Imam al-Ghazali, and we reached the point of talking about the nafs, the aqabat al-sab'a. Just to refresh, the first aqaba is al-ilm, the fact that we need knowledge, right? Without knowledge, we could be doing something out of ignorance, or either missing information or misinformation. So that's one of the obstacles. And then tawbah. Once you know what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's not good, once you realize and understand that, a lot of things that are going wrong in my life are because of me, actually. I've been out of my ignorance. And so when you realize this, then what do? You do tawbah. That's the second aqaba. What does tawbah mean? You decide to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what that means in like practical terms is you decide to follow Allah's way of life. When you admit and you surrender to the fact that Allah's way of life is the best way of life. Maybe prior to that, out of ignorance, you were living a life based on your own kind of perception, or the perception of society, or what your friends think is the right way to live your life, or what your parents have taught you, or maybe what you've seen, what you've been watching on TV, and you've just been impressed by that, right? But then when you get true ilm and true knowledge, you understand that Allah's way of life is the most perfect way of life. So you do tawbah, you go back to Him. That's the second aqaba. And then the third was al-awa'iq. What are awa'iq? These are the obstacles. Like within these obstacles, there's something called al-awa'iq, and there were 4 of those. One was dunya, this low life, right? The life of following your shahawat, and the life of aiming low really in life, right? And being attached with temporary things, where Allah is not in your heart, basically. It's other things, right? It's money, it's power, it's fame, it's your desires, your addictions, whatever it is. That was the first of the awa'iq. The second of the awa'iq was al-khalq, is how you want to be seen and recognized in creation of Allah, like how you want people to recognize you. Your life revolves around people and what their perception of who you are. And so you live a life to please others. You live a life to be recognized and appreciated and respected by others, right? So the people are like a sharik ma Allah, right? Like you're in a way worshipping people, right? Along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's also a form of shirk. So the first form of shirk is like dunya, like when the world is in your heart along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want Allah, you love Allah, you want to pursue the path, but you also want dunya stuff. In the sense that that's your goal, right? So like we said about dunya, there's nothing wrong with wanting nice things and aiming for a nice job, nice career, nice relationships, good fitness, all of these things. Of course, Allah has put us on this earth as a Khalifa. What does that mean? We are responsible to make this world a beautiful place, and try to, you know, fix whatever is wrong. Try to make things, amal salih, fix things, right, that have gone corrupted, right? So there's a lot of fasad, and we need to clean up the mess, right? As a Khalifa, that's our responsibility. So, yani, by saying detaching from dunya doesn't mean you don't do anything. No, absolutely, you're going to be working twice as hard because now you realize there's so much responsibility. But then, and you know, you may see even fruits in this world, right, with your efforts and all of this. And there's nothing wrong with getting the fruits, but it should remind you always of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sharing the good things that Allah gives you with others that are less fortunate than you. So infaq becomes a priority there, right? Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. We keep repeating this. This world is the farming ground for the akhirah. So the farmer just works so hard in this world, right? You're working, you're productive, but you're not attaching your happiness and your pleasure to the results of this world, right? You are doing everything you do for Allah's sake, for ridwanullah, for Allah's pleasure, and you are enjoying the journey itself. So you're working really hard, but you're just enjoying the process. It's like playing, right? That is what Sirat al-Mustaqim is about. And we ask Allah, Hadina Sirat al-Mustaqim, guide us on the path. Because once you're on the path, it's not about where it leads. Of course, it's going to lead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you're enjoying the path, you're enjoying the journey. So you're not stressed about attaching your happiness and your joy to something materialistic. That's what's meant by dunya, letting dunya out of your heart and letting people out of your heart. Because when you are worshipping Allah with ikhlas, with sincerity, then you're doing everything for Allah's sake, right? Then you're seeking His pleasure. You're doing it out of love, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So that's the second awa'iq, the second a'iq. The third a'iq is the shaitan, the external enemy. And the fourth a'iq is the nafs, which is the internal enemy. And that's really where we kind of left off. We talked a little bit about the nafs last time. And you can go back to the recordings and the podcast and on YouTube, but that's where we really left off. Today, we're going to be continuing the discussion on the nafs. So last time we talked about how the nafs is like a small child, right? That is, you walk into the supermarket or the gift store, the child wants like this really broken toy, and it's crying and it's crying and it wants it, and you as the father, as the parent, know that this toy is broken, it's no good for him, it's not worth the price, and you in fact intend to buy the child a better toy. But the child is just so hysterical, just going crazy and crying, and it can't think. You know, when you're crying, you cannot think. And so the parent gets really, stressed and like, what's wrong with this child? Can't it see that this toy is bad? Right? Can't you see it? It's like the crying has blinded the child. That's really the like what the nafs actually does at its lower levels. The nafs al-amara bisu, that's what it does. It actually blinds you, right? And you then don't really see the consequences of your actions. And so as you start maturing and purifying this nafs, which is called tazkiyatun nafs, what happens is you start realizing that, you know what, this whole time the nafs was in control of me. I wasn't in control at all. The nafs was doing all the controlling. I was just reacting. And, that we can apply that to like at the most basic level, the nafs desire for food and drink, right? That's why a lot of these weight loss programs don't work, right? You sign up to the gym after a New Year's resolution, it's not going to work for long. Why? Because the nafs is still so used to being in control. So you try to kind of take control when you say, yes, I'm going to sign up for the gym. I'm going to start doing this diet for like a month or like a 10-day juice fast or whatever, right? Like you try to be in control of the nafs, and then what happens eventually? The nafs takes over, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to use your willpower, and willpower is very weak in front of the nafs. Okay, the nafs, and what makes the nafs more dangerous than shaitan actually is the fact that shaitan is an external enemy, and Allah called him aduun mubin. What does that mean, aduun mubin? A clear enemy, right? Allah has kind of in the Quran exposed us to shaitan's tricks, and we had a whole session about shayateen and shaitan's strategy and all of that. But the nafs, what makes it more dangerous is that it is an internal, silent kind of enemy, and it's al-adu min al-dakhil, they call it, like an internal enemy. And to give you an idea about like the danger of this, right, is when a thief tries to break into the house from the outside, then it's easy to catch him if you have cameras and stuff, right? You're going to catch him, right? He's going to have to break the lock or the door, or the alarms might go off, whatever, right? So a thief that tries to come in from the outside is dangerous, but it's like from the outside, you can have protection mechanisms, right? Outside the door, alarm systems and cameras and stuff in place. But what if the thief was already in the house? What if the thief was one of the members of the family household, right? That's more difficult to kind of deal with, because the thief that's inside the house already, or let's talk about like employees in a company, right? They're insiders, so they feel safe, Whereas an outsider comes, they won't feel safe. They'll be threatened. They'll be panicking. But someone who's already in the house feels safe, and they're hidden. That's exactly what the nafs is like. It's inside your house, the body, right? And it is hidden. So it does its work. It does its work in a very subtle way. And so what we have to do is this nafs, it wants to. I mean, it was perfect at one stage, right? When you were born, it was this pure nafs, right? But then as you grow older, as you get influenced by people and experiences, the nafs goes to a state where it's like khalas, it wants to eat what it feels like. It wants to drink whatever it feels like. So it starts with the stomach, actually, shahwat al-batan, al-ta'am, basically, right? The stomach urges and desires. And then as you grow older, this evolves into your desires to own things, right? Like even as a child, like they like to eat chocolate and all of this when they're young, like the shahwa of the batan is working, the stomach shahwa. But then as you grow older as a child, you want now to have your own doll or your own car, and because you see others owning, certain things, and so you're like, Baba, I don't have a doll. And as they go older and older, Baba, I don't have a phone. All my friends have a phone. So they want this ownership. That's also a shahwa al-tamalluq. And then that turns into another shahwa, which is shahwat pleasing people, right? Arba al-nas, and comparing yourself with others. Baba, I have a phone, but my friend has a better phone. I want that phone. Then you start comparing with one another, and that's where anger kicks in. So these are the two main kind of issues that the nafs at the lower level needs to be purified from: the shahawat, one, and anger itself. Okay, and so let's talk about shahawat a bit. Shahawat are, like we said, stomach. So it comes down to even food, guys. Yani, and what's really incredible is, anyone who's actually gone through a transformation of their body and health and nutrition and exercise and all of that, and fitness in general, like well-being of your body, right? Taking good care of your body. It's a long process, right? It takes time, and then it's a trial and error, and there's a struggle. But really, one of the most powerful ways uh, to really get back in shape is to link it to a strong purpose. Okay, why am I doing it? If you say I'm going to do it to please people or to look good in front of people, is that a strong purpose? No, it's very weak because people will let you down. Yeah? You lose weight and they'll still think you're fat. Yeah? You know. So if you say I'm going to lose weight to fit into those clothes, it's weak, right? It's a weak purpose. It's a purpose, but it's weak. So how do you link it to higher purposes? That's where the role of Deen and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his instructions and the prophetic example comes in, right? When you link your, like the shahwa of your button, you decide to control it because Allah actually instructed you in the Quran to control it. Right? And a lot of people don't know this, but the Quran has so many teachings about what to eat, how to eat, the etiquettes of eating. Allah says, "Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu." Right? Eat and drink, but don't go in excessively. Don't go to extremes. So that's just this advice in itself is priceless in Surah Al-A'raf, right? Eat and drink, but don't, like, with moderation, like don't go crazy. And then in another place he says, that, oh, you who believe, eat from what is halal and tayyib, from what is pure, from what is lawful and pure. Notice pure. So not junk food, not harmful food. Why? He says, وَلَا تَطْغَوْا فِيهِ, and don't go overboard, like don't go in disobedience in your food. فَيَحَلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ غَضَبِي وَمَنْ يَحْلِلْ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبِي فَقَدْ هَوَى. And whoever my anger reaches upon him is going to be in a state of loss. So can you imagine this? Allah has actually given us instructions on how to eat and drink. And of course, the idea of eating halal food that's slaughtered in the right way. This is all very specific instructions about our food intake. Why pork is haram, and how, like, the dhabh has to happen. There's a very specific way that the slaughtering has to happen to make it healthy for the body. Because what goes in that's pure purifies you. What goes in that's corrupted and impure has an effect on your spirituality, 100%. And then, of course, you have the prophetic advice about eating and drinking, like saying Bismillah, saying Alhamdulillah after you're finished, being seated, small portions, chewing what you eat properly, right, before swallowing, and things like eating just enough to keep your back upright, but if you really want to eat, then 1/3 of your stomach only for food, 1/3 for drinks, and 1/3 for breathing. So all of these are prophetic advices that are there to control our shahwa of the nafs, of the button, right, of the stomach. But as we see around us, like, because of the marketing industry, and a lot of people are going through stress and emotional issues, and corona, food has become like the most common way to relieve your stress, right? So people are eating, and Talabat is making a lot of money from the deliveries, and so this is where it starts off with the shahwa of the button. And that's why Ramadan is a month, it's supposed to be a month of controlling that shahwa. But even after futur, the disaster that happens defeats that purpose. So the objective is not really met, this restriction of the shahwat al-batan, so that you can have more spiritual food, right, rather than physical food. So it starts off at shahwat al-batan, like we said. It goes to then owning things and all of that, and then it also goes down to ghadab, and trying to prove yourself right, and it leads to sometimes anger and reactions and beating even, So all of these are, qualities of the nafs al-amara bisu that need to be tamed. I think that's the right word, tamed, right? So you, and how do you tame it? By saying no. I won't do this. I won't eat that stuff, or I'm gonna stop before I fill myself up, or I'm gonna have a little bit of that only. This ability to say no, and it needs courage. It needs strength, right? And it also needs awareness. Now, this is very important. Awareness, because a lot of people eat stuff without even knowing what's good and what's not good for them. Again, that's part of dalal, right? In Surah Al-Fatiha, we say, Allah, we don't want to be from غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, right? Those who don't even know what's good for them and what's not, right? Or they don't care, or they're waiting, or they're procrastinating. One day I will fix my eating habits. One day, inshallah, in the future, next week, next month, when I turn 40, and then diabetes kicks in, blood pressure, cholesterol, and all these diseases kick in, cancer, and then they fix their lifestyle. So many stories about this. So Allah wants you to take care of things before the problem happens, right? الوقاية خير من العلاج, they say. الوقاية خير من العلاج. That protecting yourself and from harm is better than treating a disease. And wiqaya is where taqwa comes in from, right? Taqwa. And the ulama, they say لن تقوى بلا تقوى. لا تقوى بلا تقوى, right? Like you will not be strong without taqwa, without this ability, this desire, this willingness to protect yourself, right? And that is what taqwa is. It comes from wiqaya, which means protecting yourself, being cautious. What does being cautious mean here, right? Like, let's talk about food for a second. Being cautious means reading the ingredients before you eat that stuff. And even before that is understanding what that stuff means, right? So if you read, let's say in the ingredients, you read some weird chemical name, right? You have to understand what it means. So you do a few steps, research. And today it's very easy on Google. You just type in the chemical name I-27. What does it mean? K-16. What does that mean? Right? What am I putting into my body? That is taqwa, right? Am I putting stuff that brings my body to life, or am I putting dead stuff into my body, right? And Allah, and like when Allah instructs in the Quran, "Kulu ma fil ardi halalan tayyiban," right? That's instruction. So a lot of people are concerned about halal, like that the food that they eat is slaughtered in the right manner, or the money that I used to buy that food from was halal income. But what about tayyiban, right? Even Ashab al-Kahf, what's incredible is after they've been in sleep for so many years in the cave, they wake up and then they tell the guy who's going to go out to get some food, فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَيُّهَا أَزْكَى طَعَامًا. Let them bring the best, purest form. Notice zakah, right? Tazkiyah, purification. So even then they didn't forget, they didn't tell him, go get us some pizza, or get us some burgers and some baklava and shawarma, No, get us the best food. And this is also part of ihsan, guys. And by the way, like when you hear me talk about these things, don't think that I have like the best, perfect, ideal lifestyle in terms of food and drink. No, but this is just reminders for myself before all of you. And that's why honestly I like to come here every Sunday and teach, because it forces me to apply what I'm learning. Right? Otherwise, I'll be a hypocrite. So we were talking about taqwa, right? And not eating shawarmas. I lost my train of thought. But being in that state of caution, you know how they say, eat your food like it's your medicine, so that in the future your medicine is not your food, right? That's actually not. You're not supposed to be eating your food like it's medicine, actually, because that makes it sound like you're really struggling with food, and you're eating stuff that tastes, because medicine tastes really bad, right? And it's like you're going to be struggling your whole life, and you've labeled healthy food as medicine. That's not a good strategy, actually, because subconsciously you'll be hating your food, right? So you're doing something that you don't like to do, and that's not healthy in the long run, like we said, right? So what you want to do is you actually want to do it with a higher purpose that's based on love. And love is one of the most powerful purposes that you can um, link to your goals, right? And this applies to food, it applies to everything else in your life, right? Career, relationships, whatever. But let's talk about food here because it's the most basic one. So what do I mean by love and my stomach? How does that work, right? So you make a commitment, a promise that, Ya Allah, help me um, restrict myself and improve my ability to say no to bad stuff, because I want to do it out of love for my body that you have gifted to me. See, now you've linked it to gratitude. Allah has gifted you this body. He expects you to be responsible for this body, and he expects you to be a good steward of this body, which means you take care of it well. It's an amana, it's a trust. And Ya Allah, because you gave me this amazing body, my way of showing gratitude to you would be to eat healthy stuff, eat stuff that's good for this body. And, I'm going to choose this healthy lifestyle to give pure and food filled with life to this body, because I want to express my gratitude to you. See how it changes now, your goal? It's not about people. It's not about looking good in clothes. It's not about attracting someone. It's not about having a nice beach body for the summer. None of that. Those are all shahawat. They're temporary, right? But when you link it to, Ya Allah, thank you for this amazing body. I'm going to take care of it. I love this body because you gifted it to me. And so that's high ambition now, right? And then the second one is, Ya Allah, I'm going to eat food that gives me, because obviously when you eat healthy, it gives you energy, right? And when you don't eat healthy, it makes you lazy and, all that kind of stuff. So you make the intention that, Ya Allah, I'm going to eat what's good for my body, pure food, because it's going to give me energy. And with that energy, I'm going to be more productive out of love for you, Ya Allah. Because I'm a Khalifa. I'm your Khalifa. I'm your representative on earth. I need energy to work. And so I'm going to make sure that the fuel that I put into my body is going to be the best fuel to keep me going. Right? So you see that the intention is love-based. Ya Allah, I love you, and therefore I love this body that you've given me, and I'm going to express my love to you by taking care of this gift. I'm going to express my love to you by fueling my body with stuff so that I can be of more service to you. And so, see, it goes beyond just preventing yourself from not taking something and struggling in the process and hating yourself and looking at the scale and measuring your waist and checking your BMI. It goes beyond all of that. It's way this kind of purpose is much, much, much more stronger. And of course, throughout that process, you're asking Allah, help me, Allah, iyyaka nasta'in, right? And you make a commitment and you stick to it, and it's a promise. And of course, you may fall, but you come back quickly, right? For those of you who want to really read a nice book about changing habits, Atomic Habits is a good book that I'm reading. I'm close to finishing it now. Very good book on some tips on how to kind of change your lifestyle in terms of habits, because this is what the Nafs al-Amara has gotten used to, right? Bad habits. That's why it's difficult to shift, right? You need to learn the skills and the techniques. But purpose has been one of the most remarkable ways that you can do this. But then that's not enough alone. You need a strategy, guys. Right? Purpose is the why. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to purify my nafs for my food shahawat? And then you have a strategy. Okay, why is clear, but if you don't have a strategy, guess what? Nothing's gonna happen. What's the strategy? You're gonna have to take some action. You're gonna have to read, techniques, sign up for a course, invest some money in learning from the masters, the experts in this field on what is healthy, what is really healthy, what is really not healthy, all these things, so that you remove all sorts of ignorance and missing information that you may have, or misinformation that you may have. So that's shahwat al-batan, guys. You see how this is practical stuff. And we talked about food, but even drinks, guys. The soda and even alcohol, right? That's something that's being consumed in your body. Even vaping and shisha and smoking. This is part of shahwat al-batan. This is part of what's going in your body, right? And Allah has given us instructions on what are you putting in your body? What are you consuming? I gave you this gift and you're polluting it. And with smoking, it's not just polluting yourself, it's also polluting others through secondhand smoking and the environment itself. So it's like triple damage, right? You're damaging yourself, others, and the environment. So a true slave of Allah, Abdullah, his attitude is of gratitude, right? He realizes that nothing belongs to me. This body is not mine. It's an amana. It's a trust from Allah. And Allah has given me clear instructions on how to take care of it. And yet I don't take care of it. And then when disease happens, diabetes, blood pressure, cancer, then we start fixing ourselves. Or sometimes we blame Allah for the disease then. I got cancer, but قدر الله ما شاء فعل. It's Allah's destiny. No, sorry. You chose that destiny for yourself, right? It's your actions that manifested that. Your decisions, your quality of lifestyle, and your choices determine that. So this is really what the nafs. This is how it works, and we just talked about shahwat al-batan, and it applies to shahwat of owning things. And let's talk a little bit about money, right? Money is another major shahwa of the nafs, right? Because actually it's not really money. It's what money allows you to buy, like the ownership shahwa, see? Because money itself is just it's like fuel, right? But it enables you to own things. It enables you to buy the car of your dreams, the house of your dreams, to travel, to buy clothes, shopping and all of that, gadgets, electronics, whatever, right? All the goodies of the world, right? Mata, Allah calls it. So why are people so obsessed with money? Is because it enables you to own things. And that's the real underlying shahwa, the shahwa of owning stuff. And so Allah has given us instructions on money itself also, on how to control the nafs shahwat towards money. It's the same balance, right? To not be too restricting, don't be bakhil and greedy with the money, and don't be so musrif, you're just wasting the money, right? You're overly spending, and you're getting into loans and credit cards and buying things that you can't afford to please people that don't like you, with money that you don't have. So that's also part of the shahwa of these days. Is there's a shahwa of shopping and buying stuff to fit in, buying stuff to please others, sending your school to a school to fit in with others, even if that means getting yourself drowned in debt, or getting married in a lavish wedding to please people, even though you're going to spend the rest of your life paying off that debt, or sending your kids to college for a degree to a place where you can't really afford it, and you can end up getting a loan and drown in debt for the rest of your life, right? So many examples of how the shahwa of owning things gets us into so much trouble, right? And Allah, yani, and so how do we change that? Again, with love, right? And gratitude and amana and trust. Allah, this wealth that you have given me, I want to take care of it because it's a gift from you. It is an amana, it's a trust. And in fact, I will share with you something that will help you, inshallah, all of you. Okay. This is my Eid gift to you guys. It has to deal with money management. Okay. How you deal with money is actually at the core of spirituality, if you guys didn't know. Okay. So I'll teach with you this technique that I learned from my teacher, Harv Eker. Okay. It talks about the 6 jars method. Okay. Whatever income you get, to be a really good steward of money, you need to apply this technique. Okay. What does it mean to be a good steward of money? Is the money that comes, you manage it in a responsible way. And you care about the money. You're not careless about the money. You are cautiously spending it. You're cautiously making sure that it's spent in the best way and divided in the best way. So the 6 jars method. You guys want to hear what I'm about to say? Like, are you guys even listening? Can someone just
Yeah,
say
we're
yes?
listening.
All right, good. It's just weird to speak to yourself, for the past 40 minutes. But yeah, okay. So 6 jars method, guys. Okay. So you get income. What you need to do is you need to divide it into 6 jars. 4, 5, 6. Okay. The first jar is your necessities. Okay. This is your bills, of course, like, all your utility bills, things that you need to pay for, installments, loans, and everything. And usually, he says, according to his, again, the numbers aren't like, you don't have to stick to them exactly, but you need to get the idea of how you divide that money, right? That income that you're getting. So 55% of that money goes into necessities. Let's say you earn 1,000 dinars, 550 dinars need to go into paying off your necessities. Number 2, what's called long-term savings. Okay. You need to put aside 10% of that for long-term savings. What does that mean? The holiday that you want to take, you save up for it. You need to pay the school fees, you save up for it. You need to buy a new flat screen TV, you save up for it. You need to buy a car, you save up for it. Okay, so and you don't spend and you don't buy it unless you've saved it, right? So that's long-term saving. And this also here, a good strategy will be to have like a saving for, they call it rainy day fund, right? Like rainy day fund. Sometimes like unexpected things happen, unexpected expenses show up. So where do you pay for that from? From this bucket, okay, this jar. So that's the second jar. The third jar is what's called play. And you need to, of course, also treat yourself well, right? And enjoy the money. Again, don't eat stuff that's going to be bad for you, but like eat good food. I don't know, get a subscription on Netflix, watch some good documentaries, not toxic content, but like good stuff. Entertain yourself in a halal way, in a way that's good for your body, not harmful. Okay. A lot of entertainment is corrupted also. That's 10%. So you can also enjoy your life. Go for a massage, go for a spa, and like whatever, right? Treat yourself well. And then there is what's known as the saving and investment, right? So you save and you invest. 10% goes into saving it. You never touch this jar. You never touch it, or you just keep saving it. And then when you have a good lump sum of it, you invest it in an asset. That's what I'm going to write here. What is an asset? Like something that gives you income, right? You're not going to save it. This number 4 is not for saving to buy a car. No, sorry, a car is a liability, guys. A house that you live in is a liability. It's not an asset. Asset is something that gives you income. Like let's say you invest in an apartment that gives you, and you rent it out and it gives you income. So rental income. I don't know. You invest in a stock that gives you dividend income. Whatever it is, do your own research on that. Like, I don't want to turn. I don't want to turn this into a finance class, right? But you guys get the idea. This is stuff that you're never gonna touch. It's number four is different than number two, because number two is about buying stuff that you need, yeah, for the house and furniture, and this is to invest in assets that will give you income. Okay, and hopefully one day, like this, should grow into an amount that the income that you get from it, you can live off of. So they actually call this the financial freedom account. Okay, because what is financial freedom is when your investments are generating enough income to cover your monthly expenses. Right? So you don't have to work, basically. Right? The investment is generating enough return for you to satisfy and fulfill all your expenses. And then the fifth one, guys, the fifth jar is, of course, charity and giving, right? And here he says 5%, but again, you can play around with the money, but on a monthly basis, giving sadaqah, helping people, and that kind of thing. And what's cool about it, it's a percentage. So even if you earn 1,000 dinars, it's just 50 dinars you're giving on charity, right? But you just give it away, halas. And then number 6. Let me ask in the chat, any guesses? What would number 6 be? The 6th jar? Any guesses, guys?
Does this revolve around, like, is it something completely different or something along these lines?
It is something that you're gonna use your money for in the month. So let me give it away, because a lot of people don't actually think about this, but self-development, guys. So this is 10% of your money needs to go into. This could be signing up for the gym. This could be to take care of your body. This could be a personal trainer. This could be learning a new skill, taking a new course, reading a new book, purchasing, I don't know, something that enhances your intellectual growth, your character, right? You spend on your self-development. So you're investing in yourself, right? Extremely important. So this was it, guys. You can screen capture this. This was my Eid gift for you guys. And how is this linked to our lesson about nafs and tazkiyah? Because guess what? To be able to have this discipline, you need to be able to tame your nafs, right? Your nafs wants to spend all the money, on wasted and end up like mid-month with no money left, right? Because you're just out of control. That's what happens when the nafs al-amara bisu is in control. But when you're in control, then you're responsible, then you're disciplined. And this doesn't mean you're a boring robotic life. Right? You don't have a boring robotic life and you don't have a life. No, sorry. This perspective needs to change, right? Being responsible, yes, you will be weird. A lot of people will think you're weird, but this is how successful people manage their wealth, guys. This is how Allah wants you to manage your wealth in a responsible way. Okay. So we talked about shahwat of the batan, the shahwa of owning things and money. And then there's, of course, shahwat the sexual desires that develop later on at puberty, right? And this is also, a long discussion. In the age of excessive, imagery and videos, and there's so much content out there that exposes and makes this easy and like attractive, right? The attraction to the opposite gender, the mixing of the whole boyfriend girlfriend scene, the accessibility to, like, you have tools today like Tinder and other apps where you can just like with a click just hook up with someone and go out, and so may Allah protect all of us, but this is the toughest one actually, right? So we talked about food and drink and all of that. We talked about owning stuff and money and but like shahwatul jima' because or the nikah, this is the tough one, right? And that's why you had Sahaba who would go to the Prophet ﷺ and ask him, Rasulullah, like we have this problem, what do we do? And he said, whoever can afford to get married, right? And if you can't, then fast. When you control the body's shahawat, the stomach shahawat, it reduces your sexual appetite. And the opposite is also true. If you're excessively eating, guess what? It's gonna amplify your sexual desires. So the first advice is again an issue that we have in society today. Marriage has become so difficult. There's so many big expectations from getting married, right? Like you need to save up so much money, and the wedding is so expensive, and the jewelry that you have to buy for the bride is so much, and the bride wants a house and a car, and she wants to travel and go on a honeymoon, and so for miskeen, for someone like a guy who just got out of college and wants to get married, it's impossible. And even if they start off working and saving, it's impossible to meet that expectation, guys. You see, so a lot of the problems we have in society is because we as society have put on rules that Allah hasn't put for us. And back in the old days, it was really easy to get married. Very simple. Sometimes girls would ask for, like Khadija radiallahu anha, she asked for the Prophet's hand in marriage, right, through her friend Musayba. And it's beautiful, it's simple, and that keeps things in check. And and just marriage itself is not just important. There's a lot of things that have to deal with even intimacy, even inside marriage. There's so many couples that I coach and train, and where they're like going through difficulties because they just don't know how to satisfy each other, and they don't have that romantic life. And so the husband, when he doesn't find this in the bedroom, he's going to go out and cheat on the wife to satisfy, because that's why that's part of why he got married in the first place. And same thing applies to the wife's needs. The wives also have needs that the husband sometimes doesn't meet. The husband is too much in a rush and neglects the wife and doesn't care, thinks that this is just his shahwa. And guess what? The wives then end up going outside the house and cheating, right? And then you have other avenues, pornography and other things which can be an avenue, right? Like so. SubhanAllah, this is a heavy subject, honestly, the nafs and like the shahawat of the nafs. So I think it's enough for today, but a lot of food for thought for all of you to think about and reflect on. Discipline, right? Like, so just to sum it up all, link your niyyah to a positive intention, a purpose that is based on love, guys. Love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking His pleasure, right? And seeking to do what Allah has told you to do in the Quran, because this is the best way for you, right? He told you how to manage money in the Quran. He told you how to eat. He told you how to control your desires and shahawat. So by following Allah's instructions, not because I have to, no, because I love Allah and I just love His way of life. I mean, it's the optimal way of life. This is ihsan. This is excellence, right? What does excellence mean? To have the best lifestyle. The best lifestyle for you is the Quranic lifestyle, guys, because it came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no better lifestyle for you out there, right? Everything else is going to be flawed. Everything else will have negative consequences. This is the best. And so when you approach all these different areas of your nafs development, right? And the nafs al-ammara bis-su', whether it's your food, whether it's your drink, whether it's your addictions with smoking and shisha and vaping and alcohol and weed and exercise and laziness, overcoming all of the laziness and money management and even like relationship management, right? Like managing your relationship, enhancing your romance, and learning how to satisfy each other, and living a really productive life, right? And filling your life with work, right? So And that's, I think I need to mention this point, guys. Like a lot of young guys come to me with porn addiction problems, right? And the best thing that can help young people get off of addiction and stuff like that is because you can tell them from now until the morning, don't watch that stuff, don't watch that stuff. Guess what they're gonna do at night? They're gonna watch that stuff. It's like telling a smoker, don't smoke, it's not good for you. Don't smoke, it's not good for you. It's gonna cause lung cancer. He knows this already. After you're done talking to him, he's gonna go out and smoke, a cigarette. Why? Because the habit is there. So one of the best ways to overcome these habits is to fill your or replace those habits with something positive, and to get busy with like a vision in your life. Get busy with like some passion, some project, some mission in your life, right? I think that's what's missing in a lot of people's life. They don't have a mission, they don't have a vision, and so that spare time is used by shaitan and the nafs al-amara bisu together. They collaborate and they have a party, right? Watching you live a miserable life and work your way to your own self-destruction. So this is the importance of tazkiyat al-nafs, guys. As the nafs al-amara starts developing, it goes to nafs al-lawama, it starts blaming itself. Then nafs al-mulhama, it gets inspired. That's nafs al-mutma'inna, al-radiya al-mardiya. The nafs is tranquil, it is pleased, and Allah's pleased with it. So that's the goal you want to reach to, mutma'inna and beyond. That's where you're mutma'in with healthy food. You are happy and satisfied, and you love healthy food, and you hate junk food and white food and sugar and all that. You love exercising and being active. You love um, you know managing your money and giving sadaqat and having all these bank accounts and investments, um, and you love also have a wonderful marriage and intimacy with your spouse. And so you love everything you do. You do it because you love to do it, because that's the nafs al-mutmainna. It's satisfied. It's no longer struggling internally. I want to eat that cookie, but I can't, right? Or I want to have that shisha, but I can't. Right? No, it's not about I can't. I choose to not have that out of my own freedom. So nafs al-mutmainna, what gets it to itmi'nan is freedom, actually. Your nafs is now found finally free to choose what's best for it out of love, out of its own joy, right? It's genuine. It's not fake. All the other stuff doesn't work because it's fake. It's ikrah. Allah says, La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in this way of life. You can't force someone to quit smoking. You can't force someone to quit porn. You can't force someone to start, quitting Coke and Pepsi. You can't force it. It has to come in from within with a nice purpose, with awareness, right? With knowledge, with light that lights up your mind, right? And your heart. And then you start seeing that this stuff is bad and this stuff is good. This stuff has negative consequences. You see it. You have basira. This stuff has positive consequences. You need to do this. And you think long term, right? The nafs al-mutma'inna, it's pleased with the moment, the present, and the long term beauty, the sustainability. The nafs al-amara, it's just thinking short term, now, enjoy now and suffer later. So I hope this was useful, guys. Let's end with a dhikr, inshallah, and let you guys go. So just take a few deep breaths. Be aware of your heart. Inhale and exhale gently from the nose. Inhale cool light. Exhale dark smoke. All right, let's recite Ya Hadi today. The one who guides and protects you. And be aware of the feelings of knowing that Allah is guiding you to what's best for you. And make the intention that, Ya Allah, guide me to what's best for me. You know what's best for me, Ya Allah. I don't know what's good for me. My friends don't know what's good for me. Society doesn't know what's good for me. You are my creator. You know what's best for me. I want to turn to you, Ya Allah. Ya Hadi. You tell me what's good for me and I will follow it. And help me follow it. I need your help and I need your protection. Protect me and help me make the right choices. Guide me to the life of excellence, to the life of ihsan. Show me the light. Give me the strength and the courage and the discipline and the determination to follow the right path, the path of hidayah, guidance, the straight path, not the crooked path. The straight path is easy. Guide me to what makes my life easy. Guide me to what is beautiful. Ya Hadi. Guide me to what's good for me. Guide me to what blesses me. Help me make the right choices. Help me gain taqwa. Help me gain the awareness to protect myself. And give me the courage to say no to the things that are not good for me. Guide me to think long term. Guide me to see the consequences of my choices. Guide me to be patient. Ya Hadi. All right, guys. Alhamdulillah, I'm done. Thank you guys for joining. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.